What's the good word, y'all? DKB here. So, Denzel Mims inactive for the second week in a row. And you have to imagine we've been seeing a litany of injuries across the NFL, of course, during these first 2 weeks. We also know that there was previous interest in Denzel Mims from teams before. And there are some teams that have called before that may still be in need of his services, and the situation could be becoming more dire for them. So, there's two destinations I feel strongly about where we may ultimately see him wind up. I do believe it's a matter of if and not when for the season. We know that Joe Douglas is expecting a fourth round pick, and he's not just going to settle. But with a lot of these teams performing not nearly as well as they may have expected in the beginning, and more specifically, of course, it seems like it's an offensive focus that's been impacting these two teams. It could light a bit of a fire under there or cause something else to happen. So the Packers and the Cowboys are the two teams that I'm referring to right now. When it comes to the Packers, is more so the fact that Aaron Rodgers cannot rely on a single one of his weapons realistically right now. To say that he can find some consistent success. Alan Lazard was basically his best weapon during the preseason, and he was out for week one. He came back week two, had a very minimal impact. Sammy Watkins was able to ball out, but he has games like that, and then also he turns into a Pac-Man ghost for weeks and weeks on end. So I wouldn't say that that's an extremely reliable weapon. And then of course he has the three rookies that also could have huge impacts, but they're rookies. They've been inconsistent. We heard about the Christian Watkins, I believe his name was, 75-yard touchdown drop to start off the first snap of the season for them in week one, which is crazy. And then Romeo Dubs looks like it's a good pickup, but it is hit or miss consistency wise for him. So they could want to insert a very athletic, moldable, piece of clay for them. I would probably expect any pauses in going out and just spending a mid-round pick, which will be the fourth for Denzel Mims, will come from the aspect that you have to imagine similar offensive schemes. Mike LaFleur's brother may be concerned about if Denzel Mims can have an impact for them right away, and we know Rodgers is extremely hard on his offensive teammates because he demands and expects excellence as a team that's been to the playoffs consistently and has Super Bowl aspirations should be. But you'd have to imagine we've seen these spurts of excellence from Denzel Mims where he looks like he could be unstoppable, and maybe it will take a little bit of coaxing from a Hall of Fame type quarterback to bring out, his peak form for him and show that he can be dominant. As he's already stated, he feels he is a starting wide receiver, and he's just not getting the snaps and the space to prove that. So maybe he can do that in Green Bay with Rodgers. When it comes to the Cowboys situation, there's just a lot of pieces that just seem like they work perfectly for Denzel Mims. He grew up in Texas. He played out of Texas. He still has a home in Texas, I found out. And then, he hasn't played too far from the stadium before. So they also have a need. Michael Gallup's been injured. CeeDee Lamb is basically the only proven wide receiver talent that's on there. I want to say Noah Brown, if I'm remembering correctly, is really the only kind of up-and-comer, it seems like, on the team. So they need another piece to kind of take some of that pressure away from CeeDee Lamb, especially considering that they don't really have Dak Prescott leading the way anymore. Cooper Rush can really use as many weapons as he can possibly get his hands on. The only interesting twist to this that I can imagine for why either one of these two teams would miss out on this prospect, or what would change the dynamic of the situation and the request for the fourth round pick, would be a player for player and maybe player for player in a pick swap. We know that we could still use a proven piece at free safety. We know that we could always use more linebacker help. We know that we could theoretically use somebody on the offensive line for a tackle, depending on how you feel about Max Mitchell. So if something like that comes to fruition where maybe they say let's give up one of those pieces, and then if it's not necessarily equivalent talent, they throw in a seventh or a sixth or something to that effect, I think that would all please us as well. But with this whole saga that's been going on, I do expect this to finally come to an end by that week 8 trade line, week 8 trade line date. But let me know what your guys' thoughts are. Do we need to really keep Denzel Mims, and are we using this year essentially to kind of stash him in hopes that we move on from Corey Davis and then we slot him in to the starting rotation, or are we really waiting to see if we can get that reasonable fourth round pick that Joe Douglas is requesting? Let me know what your guys' thoughts are, and I will catch you again. Peace.